Okay, next we're doing some geometry now in this problem here. Okay, it's not hard geometry, but I'm going to go over 5 examples. This first one isn't really an example. Okay, you're going to write on the hard copy that I gave you and write some things down. Okay, so notes, examples. Make your 8 boxes, but we will be doing one problem. We'll use 2 boxes to do one problem. Okay, 2 boxes to do one problem. A couple things you need to write down: perimeter and area. Write them at the top of the page. Perimeter is adding the sides, adding all sides together. That's how you find the perimeter. You add all the sides. Adding all sides is what that says. Area is taking the length times the width. Length times width. That's how to find area. Okay, I want to look at this first one. Calculate the area and perimeter of the rectangle. So you're going to do perimeter on one side, do area on the other. Okay. Okay, let's talk about this. Perimeter, I just told you, is adding the sides. Well, if that's 20, that's 20. If that's 17, that's 17. Add the sides is easy. You take 17 plus 20 plus 17 plus 20. Use a calculator if you had to. The answer is going to be 40, 34, 74. Okay. Now perimeter is just inches. Okay. Just put IN. Area is taking the length times the width. Well, it's easy. The length is 20. The width is 17. 20 times 17 is 340. When you're taking length times width, okay, it's inches to the second power. It's square inches. Square means second power. So if I'm adding, when I'm adding, the inches stays inches. But when I multiply 2 inches units, then it goes inches to the second power. So you took inches times inches. You will not need to put labels on your answers here. Okay. Why did I tear that off? That was stupid. Okay, now how about this next one? We have a variable. We have 5. Well, we know the length is 5. So if there's a 5, that's 5 plus 2x, and that's 5 plus 2x. So just label them so they match. And you're going to find the perimeter. Well, you're not really going to find it. You're just going to simplify it, and the area. So perimeter. Write your 5 down. Plus your other 5. Plus 5 plus 2x. Keep writing plus. When you get to a new side, write plus. Plus 5 plus 2x. Now, you don't have anything to put in for x, so make sure they at least have something in the front. That's a 2, that's a 2. And now make sure you know your operations. That's a plus, 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 that's a times, plus, plus, and a times. Now simplify it using excuse my dear Aunt Sally, without worrying about the E. There are no parentheses. Multiplication, you have one here and here, but you don't know what x is. Okay, so you're not multiplying. You're not dividing. Adding. What 2 numbers are multiplied by x? The 2's. We can add the 2's. That's x with a 4. Now, what numbers are not multiplied by x? Well, how about all the 5's? 5, 5, 5, 5. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 20. And that's the answer. 4x plus 20. You can put the dot between the 4 and the x if you want, or it can just be 4x. That's how to do perimeter. Now area, right, length times width. But it's not that simple. When you have a letter in the problem, we didn't have a letter up here, so I just took 20 times 17. You need to parenthesize the length and the width. Okay? Now you empty your parentheses, and for the length you put 5. For the width you put 5 plus 2x. Now simplify it, okay? Between the 5 and the 5 we have times. 5 and 2 is plus, 2 and x is times. Okay, parentheses. Well, there's just a 5 there, and I can't add the 5 and the 2 times x, okay? So I can't do anything about the parentheses. I don't know why I wrote e down, forget it. Multiply, well, 2 times x, I don't know x. But I have this times 5. I times from the outside and apply the distributive property. Write your multiplier of 5 down twice. Then I times by 5. Then I times by 2 with the times x. Okay? So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10 with the factor of x. You can put 10x or 10 times dot x, I don't care. Now write plus 25 and then 10x or 10 dot x. Multiplying's done. There's still 10 times x, but we don't know x. No division. You ain't adding, because you can never add two things when one has a letter, one doesn't. That's the end of the problem. These look very similar, but how I get the answer is totally different. Now we're going to go over 3 more. Okay, first off, you have a minus, rewrite it as 5x plus negative 9. I hate minuses when doing these. That's a 7, and then 5x plus negative 9. Any subtraction on this first unit, you need to reverse it into a plus negative. Okay, perimeter, area. Okay, so perimeter, adding all the sides. So you got the 7, 7 plus 7, keep plussing, plus 5x plus negative 9. Plus 5x plus negative 9. Operations, got a plus, times, a plus, a times with the 5x, and a plus negative 9. Now, simplify it. There are no parentheses. You got these multiplications, but they're by letters, okay? So you can't figure that out. So now we move to addition. Write down the x factor and add the two numbers multiplied by x. 5 plus 5 is 10. Now forget about those. Now you add all the numbers not multiplied by x. The 7, what I'll have a lot of people do incorrectly, they'll add the 7s, write 14 down, and they'll add the negative 9s and write negative 18 down. No, you add all 4 of them. None of those 4 are multiplied by x, so guess what I got to do? 7 plus negative 9 plus negative 9 is negative 4. 10x plus negative 4, that's done. Okay? Area. Length times width. Again, since there's a letter, we want to make parentheses. Length, 5x plus, and if you get the length and width mixed up, it don't matter. Okay? Let's say I mix them up. Let's say I put the 7 for the length and the 5x plus negative 9 for the width. It doesn't really matter. Okay? I personally actually would put the number by itself first, okay? The shorter of the two first, that's what I would do. This expression shorter than that expression, put that one first, okay? Parentheses, well, you just have a 7 there. You have a 5 and a negative 9, but that's multiplied by x. That one is not, so we can't multiply anything. But we do multiply, we can't do the parentheses. Multiply, I can't multiply the 5 and the x, but I can darn sure come outside with the 7. So 7 is distributed. It's called the distributive property. It needs to be used when you have a parentheses with one number with a variable, one number without. Times 5 times x, and then times negative 9. 7 times 5 is 35 with the X factor. Plus 7 times negative 9 is negative 63. Now the multiplication's done. I mean, you still got that, but we don't know X. There's no division, and you ain't adding those. When that has an X, that one does not. Alright, next problem. Got 11, 3x plus 2, 3x plus 2. So perimeter and area. Perimeter, well, you got the 11s plus 3x plus 2 plus 3x plus 2. No parentheses. Multiplication, you got the 3 times x, but we don't know x, so I can't multiply. Division, no. Addition. Well, let's add these two numbers multiplied by x. 3 plus 3 is 6. X, keep the x factor. I just about made a mistake. You need to put the x with that. Then all the numbers not multiplied by x. 11, 2, 11, 11, 2, and 2. You add all 4 of them. Okay? Not just the 11s and the 2 separate, all together. That's 26. 6x plus 26. And that's simplified. Okay? Can't do anything else with that. You have it times, but you don't know x, and you can't add when one number's got x connected, the other one doesn't. Okay, length times width. Length, again, you got these two dimensions. One's the length, one's the width. I would put the number by itself first, 11. You always have a number by itself, then the 3x plus 2 there. Technically, that's the length and that's the width, but you can multiply it in any order. Multiplying is commutative, meaning I can put it in any order I want. Okay? So times, plus. You have parentheses, but you can't do anything because that's just an 11. You got these two numbers. Well, we don't know x, and since we don't know x, we can't finish that. So parentheses is a waste, even though there are some we can't figure out what they are. Multiplication. Well, you can't figure that out, but you can simplify and distribute your 11. 11's a multiplier. Times by 3 dot x and times 2. That's going to be 33 with the x factor. Don't forget the x factor. Then 11 times 2 is 22. So I have 33 times x plus 22. Multiplication is done because I can't do any more multiplying. Division. Addition. No, you're not adding those. You don't know what x is. Okay? So that's your answer. The answers look very similar, but how you get them is completely different. And this will be on a test. So look at area perimeter. Okay? Next one, you got 11, 11. Rewrite that with the subtraction. Just rewrite it as 2x plus negative 3 and 2x plus negative 3. So, perimeter, area. Perimeter, you got the 11s, just like before. Plus 2x plus negative 3. Plus 2x plus negative 3. Plus, times, plus, times, and then plus. No parentheses. You got multipliers, but you don't know what the letter is, so we ain't doing it. Division. If I knew the letter, I'd be putting the letter in and multiplying, but I don't. Addition. Well, what two numbers are multiplied by x? 2 and 2. That's 4. Okay. Now you write plus and you add the rest of these 4 numbers. You clean up the trash, okay? See how I do that? 16. You should end up with one number multiplied by x and one number not on both answers. How you get them is completely different, but area is length times width. When there's a letter in the problem, you need parentheses. Now it doesn't matter how I fill it out. I would put the 11 first, okay, if I were doing it. 2x plus negative 3. Now put your operators. 11 and 2's times, 2 and x's times, x and negative 3's plus, okay? Parentheses can't, that's just an 11. I don't know what x is, so I can't multiply, and I can't add when one has an x, one doesn't, okay? Multiplying, well, we can't take 2 times x, but I can distribute the 11. 11 to the 2, and the 2 is still multiplied by x, so you include that. 11 times negative 3, so forth. 11 times 2 is 22. Keep the x factored. You don't have to put the dot x, just put, I need to see 22x in. Don't put plus x, it's times x, but you can just hook an x to the 22. 11 times negative 3 is negative 33, so you write plus. On one side, you write 22x. You can put the dot if you want, and then negative 33.